Hi there, it's Stephanie from Our Natural Wisdom. Welcome to my weekly Instagram Live all about how to reclaim your peace through Mother Earth. So great to have you here. I am an eco-intuitive coach and I help women who are anxious perfectionists. I help you unlock your natural wisdom, your intuitive guidance to help you have greater peace and fulfillment in your life. And hello, so good to see you here. Thank you for joining. So today I'm circling back to a topic that I've covered a few times because it just is something that keeps coming up for me and for many of my clients. And that is the topic of comparison. One of my all-time favorite quotes is, "Comparison is the thief of joy." That is a Theodore Roosevelt quote. And I love it for so many reasons, one of which is that it's easy to remember. I'm terrible at remembering quotes. And that one is easy for me to remember. Hi, Kay. Thanks for joining. So good to see you. So the quote, "Comparison is the thief of joy." It really resonates for me and for so many women, I think, that experience anxiety and perfectionism, that inner voice that we want things to be different or better or, bigger or smaller or whatever. And we look to the experience that other people are having in their lives as like a barometer for how we're supposed to be experiencing our journey of life. And we know intuitively, we know within our hearts that that's not the way to go. We know that we all have a unique journey, right? And that honoring that is so important because you have your own intuitive wisdom, your own natural wisdom. We are all born with intuition and with the ability to tap back into that intuition, that deep natural wisdom that we all hold within. And yet, as we experience our journey of life, we become conditioned to believe that things should be a certain way. And I really feel like that is the source of so much anxiety in us, in our world today. And so I wanted to share some thoughts, some messages that I've been receiving from Mother Earth about breaking the habit of comparison, because it is something that I've been practicing for a while now, and it has made a huge difference in my life. Looking back, I realize now that a lot of the anxiety that I experienced in the past decades a lot of it has been born from comparison. And as I become more and more attuned to when I am in a place of comparing myself or my life or aspects of my life with somebody else's experience, the more attuned that I am to that, the easier it has been for me to shift out of that. And this is all about being aware and being observing your own thoughts, which is something that nature helps us do so beautifully because, nature always is bringing us back to the present moment. And anxiety doesn't live in the present moment. Anxiety lives in the future. So while we can experience it in the now moment, it's actually all focused towards the future, right? Anxiety is. So the more that we can bring ourselves back to the present moment, to grounding ourselves within the present moment, and to creating peace for ourselves within the present moment, the more peace we will experience in our lives. I recently, on my walks, a tree that I have been really feeling drawn to, and this time of year I always feel drawn to it, is the northern catalpa tree. And catalpas, if you don't know, they're pretty common, especially here in the upper Midwest. I'm in northern Illinois, and they can get quite tall. They tend to leaf out very late in comparison to other trees, other deciduous trees in our region. And they have these huge heart-shaped leaves, which is so beautiful. I mean, what's not to love about a tree with huge heart-shaped leaves, right? So they also have, they're the tree that have those long seed pods that I imagine if you have it in your yard, they can be a bit messy, a bit to maintain. But right now they're in flower, they're in bloom here. And they're just so beautiful. Their flowers look like little tiny orchids, and they're covered in these flowers. And when the flowers start to fall, they look like snow, and it's really such a beautiful tree. And they're so unique. Everything about them is different. They leaf out later, they flower later, they have these long seed pods, they have these huge heart-shaped leaves. And as I was just connecting with the spirit of the catalpa the other day, I realized that, these trees do not compare themselves to anybody, right? I mean, they are living out their essence, and they're doing it so beautifully. They're bringing such a unique grace and beauty into the world, just like you do. And if, for instance, they were comparing themselves to the trees around them, boy, would they be bummed out, right? They wouldn't be flourishing nearly as much. They wouldn't be living into their true essence. And that is so much of what it is like for us when we live in a place of comparison, when we are comparing ourselves, our lives to others. This teaching came forward in part for me the other day when I was reflecting on my children. I have almost 12-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son. My son is autistic. He is more of a mild autism, but he has his challenges, and we have been through a lot. It's emotional regulation for him in the most part. And he has been working so hard to learn how to self-regulate, how to calm himself down, how to take breaks and kind of refocus and recenter himself. And I mean, the guy is just 5 years old, which is just amazing. I mean, he has made such progress. He goes to an autism therapy program in the afternoon. And the other day I was picking him up, and as I was picking him up, I was waiting. There were other kids coming out, and there are some children that go to this therapy center who have profound autism. They have a lot of needs, and they are doing very well in this therapy. And as they were coming down the stairs and I was waiting for my son, I started feeling myself going into a place of comparison, comparing my son's journey with autism to these children, and by extension, comparing our family's journey with autism with the families of these children who have more profound needs. And I realized that that's one of the slippery slopes of comparison, is when it's like we undermine our own experience. We undermine everything that we're going through in our lives when we compare it to somebody else and think to ourselves, oh, well, they have a much more challenging situation. They are facing much greater needs and much greater challenges in their lives. And while there's a part of that I'm sure our brain is saying to us as a way of comforting us or like accessing some amount of gratitude, it also feels very dismissive and very undermining of the experience that we are having, which has been challenging. So I realized that our brains like to, we can bounce back and forth between types of comparison. There's the type that we may all think of where it's comparing ourselves to somebody else in terms of, what they look like or what they're capable of or what they've accomplished or what they have, or, all of those things. And I've learned that when my brain goes to that place, so often my brain, and this all comes from observing our thoughts, my brain thinks that this is going to motivate me. My brain has this story that if it compares myself to somebody else in a way of the have-nots and the haves, that this is some way of motivating me to do something bigger or better or whatever. And that's not true, right? I mean, that comparison, it separates us from our true essence. It separates us from our experience of life. It takes us out of the present moment. And while, yes, there may be some good things about comparison in terms of motivating us, that's not how I want to be motivated. I want to be motivated from within to really grow into that true essence of my own life and my own experience. And on the flip side, that comparison to somebody else who's experiencing a much more difficult, from our perspective, a much more difficult journey of life, it can undermine the journey that I'm experiencing, right? So when our brain is always looking for ways to protect us, to keep us safe, and I think that comparison can be a real trap for that. So when I think about comparison now, I think of it as something that is a pattern within my brain that I have the ability to break. It is a habit that I am breaking over time. And I feel that connecting with nature in all of its beautiful forms and unique qualities and all of the little niches that all aspects of nature hold, it's such a beautiful representation of how we each have our own true essence that we are living into based on the circumstances and the experiences of our lives. So today I just encourage you to be aware of when you are falling into the habit of comparison, comparing yourself to others, either in a way of, oh my gosh, they have something that I want, or why can't I have that? Or, as I was describing with my son, where comparing my life to somebody else's that is experiencing a lot more challenges and thinking, oh, well, I should be happy. I should be thankful because I don't have that experience. And again, while that might bring up a sense of gratitude, it's kind of a backdoor way of entering into gratitude, right? So, and it can run the risk of dismissing the experience that you are going through and undermining the impact that it has in your life. So, hi, thank you for joining. So today, I really encourage you to become aware of when you are engaging in comparison, comparing anything within your life to something that you are seeing outside of yourself. And when you recognize that you are in a place of comparison, I invite you to place your hands over your heart center and take a breath and just send yourself so much compassion and recognize that your awareness of that comparison is healing. And as you are in that place of sending yourself love and compassion for recognizing that your brain has brought up a sense of comparison, I also encourage you to picture a plant or an animal that you have an affinity with, but you know that they are really unique, that they have some really unique characteristics about them. And connect with that plant or animal and welcome their beautiful, unique essence into your awareness, into your energy, and recognize how You have your own unique path. You have your own unique essence, your purpose, your higher self. You are bringing so many beautiful gifts to the world. And think of how nature is always bringing you back to the present moment so that you can be grounded in that, so that you can have a deep roots in your essence. There is no need for comparison, because comparison truly is the thief of joy, as Teddy Roosevelt said. And comparison is a habit that you can break, and Mother Earth will help you do that. I think that this will be really helpful for relieving anxiety and for lightening up any perfectionist qualities that you are struggling with in your life. I hope that that helped you today. It is a big topic and something that deserves to be talked about more. So I hope that today's little teaching brought you a deeper understanding of how your natural wisdom can bring you so much healing, and your connection with Mother Earth is always offering you that ability to step into your deep wisdom more fully. I would love to work with you one-on-one if this resonates for you. I offer a free breakthrough session that helps you connect more deeply with your natural wisdom so that you can reclaim greater peace and fulfillment in your life. If you would like to learn more about applying for your free breakthrough session, simply click the link in bio or the link in the caption and you'll be directed there. Such a joy to have you here. You're welcome, Kay. Thank you for joining. I look forward to seeing you again next Monday at 2 p.m. Central Time. Have a beautiful day. Thanks. Bye-bye.